Hi, I'm Lyvette Byrd, and I am a member of the National Federation of the Blind, Greater Philadelphia chapter, and I'm also the host of Women Healed for a Purpose.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kevin Aiken. I am the senior pastor of Heart Worship Restoration Center, which are situated in Alany section of Philadelphia. I'm also served as the president of Man of Bible Institute. Last but not least, chief advancement officer at Cheney University.
And you are listening to
White Kings Connect.
Hey there, PA Federationists. Welcome to another episode of White Canes Connect, presented by the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania. My name is David Goldstein. I'm the treasurer of the Keystone chapter and the Pennsylvania Association of Blind Merchants. Our co-host today is Lisa Bryant, the second vice president from the Keystone chapter. Lisa, you had a great conversation with Lyvette Byrd today.
I did. Lyvette is hosting her second Women Healed for a Purpose conference. And we talked with her and Dr. Kevin Aiken, who is one of the presenters this year. This year's theme is very different from last year, so take a listen. So, Lyvette, so nice to have you back on again, talking about Women Healed for a Purpose. Welcome back, and congratulations on year 2.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a blessing to be a part of it, having it done again, and I'm waiting to see what God is going to do.
Okay. And Dr. Aiken, welcome to you. We're very excited to hear, learn about your work that you have been doing. You have quite a varied background and how you're going to bring some of that to the women on the conference. But first, before we get to that, so Lyvette, again, like I said, congratulations. This is year 2. Tell me or tell us about how Women Healed for a Purpose came about and the nonprofit behind it. How did you even get this idea to do this?
To be quite honest and frank, it was not my idea. It was a God idea. And to be honest, I did not want to do it originally. I felt it was a very a daunting task. And then to try to do it solo was going to be a difficult thing. And I didn't want to do it. But out of obedience, he's asked me to do it. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And then I was going to do it my way. And then he's like, no, I need you to get a committee. And then I'm like, okay. And I just followed his leading and his footsteps in doing it. There were several times along the road where I really just wanted to give up, to like quit, because it became overwhelming. But I had people along the way who know my faith, who reminded me who I am, what God has asked me to do, and my yes. Lyvette, you said yes. Are you taking your yes back? And I'm not. So the first one went off, and I think I breathed 7 times afterwards. And it was worth every challenge that I went through to see that thing birth the way God wanted it to be. It was an amazing thing. And then I thought I was done. And then he was like, no, you're going to do it again. And he actually said that before the first one actually completed. So I was able to announce it at the first conference.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this year, though,
Yep.
the theme or the approach, rather, is very different. Tell us how this year is different from that inaugural event last year.
Well, this year's theme is a father's love and brotherly affection. And what God spoke to my heart is that there are a lot of women who have grown up in situations where their father wasn't present physically, mentally, or emotionally. And they didn't have any other male role model speaking into their lives, which is a very needed and necessary thing for a woman to grow up with. It's how she calibrates the men in her life that are not related to her. And when he said it to me, I got real excited about it because I've been in that circle, right? Girlfriends, different people that I've encountered, that's a missing component that they all need, right? I had my physical father there, and he was there. He's still there for me, but the spiritual aspect of him was not. And so when God spoke this to me, it rang real loud, and he gave me the people he wanted me to ask to present from the father's standpoint, from the brothers, the sons, the nephews, all of those things that are missing elements, words that are missing elements that women need to hear in this time, this space, this dimension from the men in our lives. They may have it, they may not have it, but this is an opportunity to get it.
Which is why this year all the presenters are men, like Dr. Aiken. Dr. Aiken, first tell us a little bit about yourself, and again, how you came to connect with Lyvette and be a part of the conference.
Well, I have to say that again, I'm glad to be on this interview and to be a part of this great work that's happening in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. I am Dr. Kevin Aiken. Kevin. The reason why I have to say it that way, that's what my mother and my father named me. So everything else came by way of work. I'm a academician, meaning an educator. I've been in the academic higher ed for the last 22 years. I've been a professor at two higher ed colleges, also vice president at those particular colleges, as well as in Graduate Philadelphia, the vice president there. I currently serve as the chief advancement officer at Cheyney University. But on my spiritual Christian work that God has called me, I'm a third generation pastor, preacher, and church planner.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why that becomes very, very exciting is simply because all I know by way of the work that God has called me to is a faith-based initiative that I actually was born into, and Christian, saved since age 6. Again, the work of advancement and impacting to God's community, loving to not only love on people, but understanding this generation that needs not only a father or a fathering or even brotherhood. How I came to this space with Lyvette is because I used to pastor her, and I have to say, not just used to, but I'm going to say I currently still do, because anyone that God places in your life that the Lord allows to move into different ventures or what have you, that's still a part of your life. And so I had the privilege of having her and her family as a part of the ministry at Heart of Worship Restoration Center, and been a blessing. And the work that she has done, not only at that particular branch of Zion, the work that she's actually done presently, and of course, and future work that she's going to do, is advancing the kingdom of God. And that becomes important. So our connection have been by way of me fathering her, or spiritually being in her life to guide her life into where she is even now. Whatever portion or percentage that the Lord allowed me to place in her life, she's taken those nuggets or what have you and continued to move and do what God has called her to do. And Bible does encourage us to send those out. And so she has been sent out to do the work. That's my connection. When she did ask me, of course, it's whatever needs to get done, and we'll make it happen. I think that's important. And so the work that she's doing is simply to caring for people, caring for their lives, and serving people. And so that connection becomes very important, because that's exactly how I actually live my life, so that I can help somebody as I pass, so my living will not be in vain. And so it is just exciting for that work that she's doing. I hope I answered your question with that.
Yeah, you did. And I was listening to you said you're third generation pastor and church planter. So speaking in front of people is not new to you at all. But I
Not at all.
wonder how different this conference is. One that this is geared for women and the message is healing, helping women to heal.
Yes.
How is this unique though?
To be honest with you, and I have to say this, one, I'm a mama's boy, so that's one. My mother is my administrative assistant, and at the church I'm currently at, so I make sure she's all right, and I take care of her. However, I need to take care of. Plus, I am a twin, and
Oh.
my twin is a female. I'm a fraternal twin, and I have a sister, and so those become very, very critical when it comes to understanding not only this work, but also I have four. Matter of fact, I five pastors that are females, and I also planted a pastor, a female pastor that has a church in North Philadelphia and doing well. And again, when it comes into the space of support as well as biblically based, we do know that women have a difficult time in the pulpit, difficult time as
Yeah.
preachers. And they do. I mean, we're still in a traditional city. And I say traditional city. There are still some challenges that some people have that are, have a foundation fundamentalist in a sense when it comes to women who speak or teach from a level of a pulpit. I just happen to not only have men but also women who I serve, so therefore I am their spiritual father as well. The pastors I've ordained, those that I pour into, and because I have been a professor, the majority of my work have been predominantly, I have to say this, even in the church, by women. I mean, there's men that do come into church, and there's men that I pour into. Matter of fact, one of my theses that I've done is dealing with men walking in the power of God. One of the books that I've written and what have you, and it deals with why men don't come to church and all these different kind of things. And there's but it's something when you have a desire and a love to be not only a strong male, but also want to impact the men and the youth of society when it comes to who they are from boys and men. But it's another thing when you can become a father for women. And I'm gonna say this as well. I also have three daughters, and three daughters who are part of the ministry as well. But there are three young daughters that I have. I say young daughters, but my oldest is 26, my youngest is 20, and so they are. I say all of them are my babies. So therefore, I have no sons in that regard biologically, but I do spiritually have sons. So the question that you asked, why me dealing with daughters, dealing with women? Well, I have women in my life, and it so happened that I actually pour into them, not only with my daughters, also again, I've married 29 years. And it's just, and I have a female. They have a female, small little dog. So I guess I'm the only male in the household.
Yeah.
So this idea of why me, in a sense of pouring into women, why not? My experience had come from being a father for three daughters and grooming them throughout their life, continually in my life as a daddy, as a father. Also, when it comes to being a son, having a mother that I also make sure I take care of, and even to this day, making sure that she's all right, doing well. And I have daughters in ministry. So the question, I don't know, shouldn't I be why not me?
Yeah. 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 You certainly have enough What should I say?
Estrogen.
Lived experience.
Yes, yes, yes. And
Just
estrogen
being
around
sur
me.
Yeah, and being surrounded by so many women.
Yeah.
Lyvette, this is a very important area for women. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of father hurt out there. Well, there's a hurting world um, in general. But I wonder if you recall when you even got that word that this is to be the theme of the conference. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I know the exact same day. I was in the living room with my daughter, and we were putting together the conference. We just finished the meeting, and everybody had left, and we were sitting there, and I was sitting in the chair, and she was like, "Mom, you going to do this again?" I said, "Absolutely not. I'm not doing it." And as soon as I said, "Absolutely not, I'm not doing this," is when I got a download. And she understands in my space and me enough. She just got quiet because she saw the reflection on my face, and I got a download. I mean, a literal download, and I started tearing up. And she was the very first person I told, and I told her, and she was like, "Wow, so you're doing it again." And I'm like, "Yeah, and this is going to be awesome because this is what is needed right now. This is what's needed right now." And I just was amazed at how it was coming together even before the first one came. And so I was excited. We made the date. Um, Within the next couple of days, I got the invitations. God told me, who to invite. And I said, "Okay, we'll see how this goes." And it went like the first time, actually. We had 7 speakers the first time, all women panel, and not one of them said no. Not one of them said no. Um, it was speechless, is what I am. Very grateful, humbled, and speechless. It's a different platform. It's for men speaking. It's all men speaking, and a place that women need to hear from.
Dr. Aiken, what is the exhortation or the goal that you have? What would you like women to come away with? At least from your message. I mean, there are going to be other panelists, but what would you like to make sure that you impart to these women?
That women, in a sense, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to their life, that it is important to feel loved. I think it's important to not feel like they are in a world by themselves. Even though in the society where we live, there is some injustices that take place in this particular space. There is really no true equality when it comes to that, or equity when it deals with women. And sometimes when you feel like, let's say, the world is against you, when it comes to that particular space, that there are men and males who truly care, and in a respectful way. And I think that a lot of females, a lot of women, I can't speak for them because I don't know, but from a male perspective, some men are intimidated by strong Black women, strong women in a sense. A lot of men do not want to, how can I say, place their life in a sense with sometimes strong Black women, because it may be an overshadowing. They may fear that they will lose their own identity in a sense. And I think that the message, in a sense, to say when I speak, to say, it's okay for you to be you. It's okay for you to lean on a male. I think we do get to this subservient type of mindset that some women may feel, and again, I can't speak for everyone, that feel like if they lean on a man, it makes them not only vulnerable, but it makes them weak. And I think I want to kind of continue to pour the tradition in that it's okay for a man to walk in authority, but yet it's also okay for a man to pour into a woman's life and to treat them as the queen and the princesses that they are. And I think that when you begin to have men or those that will speak into their daughter's life or their loved one's life, or someone who might feel like men are just out for themselves, egotistical, what have you. Again, I can't speak for everyone, that there are men that do care that women are not only feel confident for who they are, but also won't be afraid to walk in the power that they possess. I think based on my conversation is the fact of saying, hey, I want to empower women. Do not be afraid. Do not be fearful. Walk in the authority that God has placed in you. Be the Eve that God called you to be. And I just know that that's important for some women to feel. Sometimes, again, women, in a sense, based on from a male perspective, are looked upon as a material item in a sense, or something that is a prized possession in a sense. And sometimes women do feel that. I think the importance is to know that you are wonderfully and rightfully made, that you are of a royal priesthood, and that you're a pearl, you're a jewel, you're fine wine. I think that those conversations sometimes are not had. And I know a lot, and they're lost in this society. And I do think that some women do need to be poured back into so they can feel just as feminine in a sense. And I'm not trying to put a stamp of dividing from sexism or anything like that. I'm really just simply speaking about what God has done and what God has made, and the fact that it's okay to be beautiful. It's okay to be who you are. And I think some men, regardless of the women that you do speak to, or that's in your life, that regardless, it's not, you don't have to speak down to them, speak to them, and embrace. So I think the conversation that we'll be having is, again, trying to feel too, what do women need? I think sometimes that discussion is not had either. When there's a male in the room, they need conversation. Talk to me. Don't talk at me. I think that's important for, again, a woman to hear. I know that because of being a father. Sometimes men can walk in a room and not just, or I'll just say me. I walk in a room and my daughters might fear, and I'm like, well, why are you fearing? But it's important for them to feel the love from their father. It's important for them to feel connected, and for me to understand exactly what my daughters desire and need, and for me not to have too much bass in my voice. And I have to say it that way. Sometimes that comes across, and that's all a woman will hear. I don't need to hear your bass. I need to hear, the love that's inside of you. I need you to take away the shield, of your masculinity, so to speak. And you don't have to display that before me. Just be who you are, and let me hear you. And I think those conversations are something that's not had really around women and men. If there is there's a yawn, there's a gap, there's a bridge that needs to be connected, though. And so I hope I answered your question. I think some of those things will be going on in our discussion.
Yeah, it sounds like a message of both encouragement, but also empowerment.
Yes.
So Lyvette, give us all the details of this day. When is it? How do people register? And also just kind of a general overview of what will take place, like the order of the conference that day.
Well, Women Healed for the Purpose is sponsoring its second annual event, and it's going to be held Saturday, October 28th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Swan Waterfall Caterers. And that's located at 2015 South Water Street, Philadelphia, PA 19148. And it's for women. I know I've gotten a couple questions. Can we invite men? And I just want to create a safe space for women, because this is a very sensitive topic. And
Mm-hmm.
once we are starting to receive some of the words that some women have longed to hear, you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
affirmation, that encouragement, all of those things. Um, Once we have started that process, it just leaves a woman open and vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trusting that because God asked me to ask these specific men to come, they're prepared for what that experience is going to be, and to be able to nurture that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Close up any wounds that have been opened. You know what I mean? So I want to create a safe space for them. This time, I think there'll be a time where I will do another one where it'll be a co-conference. But for right now, you know, it's Saturday, October 28th, at Swan Waterfall Caterers. Um, there is, we're also doing Zoom. So their in-person experience is $45 in person. It's a catered event. So you'll get a beautiful lunch. And the lunch is catered for no matter what your preference is in terms of food, it's going to be covered at this event. And that in-person experience is $45, but we're doing a Zoom experience, a virtual experience for $25 as well. So you can tune in to Zoom, or you can come in person and receive everything except for the food.
And so I'm thinking there will be a worship part of the conference and then the speakers. Like, what's the flow of the day like?
Yep. So what we'll have our greeting, our welcome. We have some goodies. We're going to have some swag bags given out at registration. We're having some what do you call it, raffles that we're doing, giving away some nice gifts. And then we have a minister of song, a songstress, a soulstress. She is Gwen Yvette. She's coming from South Carolina to minister to us in song. And then we have a praise dancer, Rachel Govan, who will minister to us in dance. And then we have the speakers that are coming behind that. And then Rachel, Gwen, she'll dance, she'll sing again. And then we'll have a wrap up. I'll make my grand announcement about the date and the location for the third event. Our third conference will come out of that. And that's pretty much the flow. Well, we will definitely have a worship experience. We are going to leave some time. There are going to be vendors. Not a lot of vendors, but enough vendors. Some nice little things for women, apparel and things like that. But it's also resources. Just a few resources that we as women sometimes neglect: our health and our well-being. And we want to provide opportunity for them to think about it by having some of these vendors come in and say, hey, this is a place where you can come and receive some services, some help, and most of it's free. So it's not something that you have to pay for, because that's another obstacle that women face. You know, they're taking care of everybody the best way they can with all the money that they have, and then it's little left for them. And that becomes a challenge.
Yeah. So you kind of stole my thunder. I was going to ask, I thought I was going to, get it out of you what you might be thinking about for next year, but you already are there. So good for you. Do you want to share any little tidbit?
It's going to be in October. October is the month that'll always be. And it's going to be quite different. I will say that
Okay.
it will be a conference with breakout sessions. That'll be our first one that we're doing with breakout sessions, because it's going to be, each session is going to be tailored to a different focus. And so we're going to have speakers coming in, and registrants will be able to register for the particular speaker and topic that they want to, or they feel like they need to get most fed by.
Well, so much for the reluctant warrior, man. You're in this now, like it or not, right?
Yeah, that's the truth of the matter. I'm so sold into it. It comes with its challenges. You know, whenever you're talking about advancing the kingdom, you better believe there is a fight on your hands with this thing manifesting. It's going to it's definitely a fight on your hands. However, if you do it God's way, if you continue to stay steadfast with it, it's all worth it. I've
Yeah.
committed my life to Christ. So it's worth it for me. It's worth it for
Yeah.
me. However difficult, I believe God is bigger than my difficulties. I know He is. So however difficult, it will not come back to Him void. Nothing.
And Dr. Aiken, as you know, Lyvette is part of the National Federation of the Blind. David and I are as well. Of course, that's podcast is the NFBFPA affiliates podcast. I wonder if you and there most likely will be some women there in our community. I wonder if there in your address is anything in particular that you have a message you have for that community. And I don't expect you to say, well, this part of my presentation is for the blind and visually impaired people. But I just wondered, though, had you thought about that subgroup and how your message will also help them as it helps the larger group, if that question makes sense.
The question does make sense. I in my preparation, which I'm still in the process, way I prepare more so is I'm being led. I'm led by the Holy Spirit. I mean, I'm just I always am at a place as a educator to find out what I don't know, seeking what I don't know. And that's even how I present and study for my messages, what have you. I'm still trying to figure out, Lord, what is it that you'll have me to say? And sometimes when it comes from manna from on high or a rhema word, it's not a prepared word. It's something that is set at that particular time. And that's the only time that you'll get it. And so it is important for me to stay open for the leading of God's Spirit. And two, I believe that whatever message that I am going to be providing is going to be a universal message. It's not going to be one message that's just going to speak to one set of women or one area. It's going to speak totality for the universal church when it comes to by way of women. And so whatever message that I would be able to say to someone who does not have an impairment, so to speak, or may not be a sense suffering from a certain if it's sight or if it's hearing or what have you, it's a message that's going to resonate to everyone. Because I think that sometimes when you deal with let's say impairments, you start focusing on those areas, you're going to miss somebody else. And so you asked a good question. And what really comes to mind is when, and I don't want to turn this into a message, but it's when Jesus was actually going to ministering and he was looking to feed the 5,000. And before he left, and the disciples were saying, listen, we got to leave. We got to go. And he said, well, listen, I cannot leave if they're hungry. And what they said, it said that there was the lame, the blind, the dumb, those people that had impairments was there. He said, I cannot leave them without feeding them. And at that particular time, he found a way to feed everybody that had impairments. And so I say to you that whatever message, whatever conversation that we're going to have is going to be a message that's going to be for everyone. It would include everyone. It's not exclusive. So if it's going to be centered for anyone, it's going to be centered for everyone.
Lyvette, I think registration is fast approaching the close date. You want to share that information?
We have open registration, and we have open registration up into and including October 27th. Okay. We are trying not to do any registration on the 28th. Right. Just because we want to keep everything focused to what's happening on the 28th, and that all of those other fees and expenses and things are not being taking place in front of all of that. But with registration, you can go to our website, which is For the Byrds Consulting.org. And there's a button that you can click to go towards registration. We also have t-shirts available. I think we're going to make available for all of our conferences, so where you can purchase a t-shirt, and all the expenses from the sales of the t-shirts go right back into the conference for the next planning year. So it's something that feeds itself right now, which I'm very grateful for. God knows my heart, so he knows my prayer is to be able to put on this event free of charge for any and every woman that comes. And we're going to get there. We're going to get there. So I'm grateful.
So once again, it is the 28th. Would you just give that time and location again?
Yes, it is Swan Waterfall Caterers, 2015 South Water Street, Philadelphia, PA 19148. It's between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. And it's Women Healed for a Purpose, a Father's Love, and Brotherly Affection.
Now, is there a phone number in addition to the email website, or is it only online registration?
There is online registration, but if someone is having difficulty with registering online, there is a phone number that they can call. They can call the office at 215-688-5199, and that goes directly to the office. We also have voicemail, so if someone is trying to register, if they leave us their basic information, someone will get back in touch with them and register them for the event.
Dr. Aiken, any parting words?
The only parting words I have to say is, if you are a woman and desire to understand again how much you mean, I would say come down October 28th and be fed and also be made whole. I think that that's so important. But I also will say, if I can, that if you want to hear me, every Sunday at 5317 North 3rd Street at Heart of Worship Restoration Center. It's a place that's not business as usual. We say we minister to the unchurched, the de-churched, and the overchurched. Heart of Worship 21 years ago was set aside for those that are seeking restoration, restoring the lives of God's people and bringing them back to the heart of worship. God's desire is to change our heart. And it's important because you matter. Again, that's 5317 North 3rd Street, and that's in the Alny section of Philadelphia, right there on the corner of 3rd and Delphine Street. If you go too far on the one-way street on 3rd Street, you'll hit Tabor. And so it's in between Tabor and Fisher. It's a church that sits right on the side. And if you're looking at the podcast, I do my backdrop is my pulpit. And so we call it the dining room. Taste and see that the Lord is good. And so I'm excited for anyone that wants to come to Heart of Worship. Our services start at 9:45 a.m. on Sundays. And so, and we have our, you can just go to our website, www.heartofworshiprc.org, and get whatever information that you need. That's heartofworshiprc.org, and whatever information you need, you can just follow all the prompts, and you'll even hear a message from me on the website. And so, again, I'm excited. Thank you, Lisa, to have me on your show. But again, we'll probably be seeing each other again.
I'm sure our paths will cross again. Thanks for coming on. And Lyvette, how about you? Any final words to get folks to register sooner rather than later so they're ensured a seat?
Well, I am just so excited about this event. And again, my heart is that women receive some of the missing components they may have missed along their life's journey. It's a great time to fellowship with another. I know a lot of times women seem to be put against each other when we really are sisters, right? And we overcome by the word of our testimony, and we all have a story to tell. We all have a story to tell, and that we've overcome. If we're breathing and we're looking at each other, we're right now on this, we have overcome something. And so I would like women to come and be a part of this space, be a part of this experience for their own health and wellness and their well-being. And then they can take this information back to those that may not have an opportunity to come, and that it'll start a ripple effect. Healing is a process, and it'll start a rippling effect. We make up 51 point some odd number now of the population in the city of Philadelphia. Our motto is, if you change a woman, you heal a woman, then you have healed the city of Philadelphia, because we make up the majority. A lot of our homes are run by women. Everything is done by women, and we need to be whole. We need to be healed. And then we have flipped the whole city of Philadelphia. We have flipped it. And so my encouragement is that you participate as women, that women get the word out, that they'll share it, they'll visit the website, they'll visit the Facebook page, and then they'll come and they'll hear. If they go to the website, they can click a link and hear some excerpts from the YouTube from last year, women's conference, and kind of get a snippet of what they can expect a little differently. But I want to thank you, Lisa. I want to thank you, David, and White Canes Connect. I want to thank you, Dr. Aiken, for saying yes, and for having this opportunity to be able to get this out so that women can participate and that we can do this life part together. You know how we do life together? This is how we're going to do life together. And hopefully, prayerfully, and I know it will be, because God just doesn't do one thing for one reason only. This will be a part of a life-changing event for all of us.
Well said, my sister. Well said. Dr. Aikens, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure to talk to you and to meet you. Lyvette, keep up the great, awesome work that you're doing. A reluctant but obedient servant is God's delight. So well done.
Thank you. No longer reluctant, I might add.
Thank you, Dr. Aiken. Thank you, Lyvette. I am so glad Lyvette is committed to this now. She's already getting ready for next year. I just love Dr. Aiken's message about being very more sensitive as a man to a woman's needs and being able to wrap your arms around a woman in a way that's not in any way sort of challenging your masculinity, but supporting women. So I think this is going to be a really great conference. Some of the other speakers, I'm sure, are just as tuned in, which is why I'm sure they even agreed in the first place to do this, tuned in to addressing those needs and helping to heal those wounds. And Lyvette is doing a fantastic job of just staying very committed to this. I think it's going to be a really good event. And again, it is Saturday, October 28th from 11 to 3. There is an in-person and virtual component. And if you attended last year, if you would plan to attend this year, we'd love to hear from you. Why don't you drop us an email? Our email address is whitecanesconnect@gmail.com.
You can also give a call. Tell us how it was last year. If you're excited to go for this year's event, give us a call, 267-338-4495. You've got up to 3 minutes to leave your name and town and your message, and we will share it on an upcoming episode. Again, 267-338-4495. Lisa, it was a great episode today.
It really was. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Thank you, Lyvette. Thank you, Dr. Aiken. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening. Take care.